Here we are live.
Well, good
8 p.m.
afternoon. Are we
Hi.
ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is W. Ian Walker, author and playwright of Stirring My Soul to Sing the Play. And I'm so happy today. Unfortunately, you can't see me on video, so there you go. I'm here with this photo. And I'm interviewing my dear friend Luann Ash. Luann is very active in the Hamilton Wentworth community as a singer, an artist, a teacher, and also worship leader. And I'm just so blessed to have her involved in the play. So, Luann, what is the role that you're playing in the play?
I get to play Ian's grandma. Oh, I waited for this role for my whole life, being a grandma. Now, I didn't realize I would have a grown man as at this age of my life for a grandson, but yeah.
And specifically, you're playing Grandma Violet.
Hmm.
Okay? So, Luann, tell me a little bit about your background in the arts.
Oh, golly.
I know about you, but I want our listeners to connect who you are.
Well, let's start from present day, shall we?
Yeah.
Concurrently, while we are working on your play, Ian, I'm also rehearsing for the Real Heart International Film Festival. I am a narrator of several, well, let me see, 3, 4, 5 screenplays, which we're going to be broadcasting live on Facebook as a part of the film festival. It was a prize to the screenwriters who actually sent, the prize winners for the people who sent their screenplays in. So that's been a fun. I did that last year as well. And I'm a private music teacher here in my little town.
Hmm.
I enjoy teaching anybody, really. I have a few adult students and some little children too.
And your instruments are?
Oh, golly. Well, I'm not starting with piano, although I'm playing the
Okay.
piano in your play.
That's
That's not
right.
my
You
primary.
are.
I'm
Right.
primarily a
Okay.
singer and a
Yep.
flute player, and I took up saxophone in the last couple of years. I play rhythm guitar, and what else do I play? I have a guitarlele, although you probably don't know what that is,
No, I don't know what that is.
and penny whistle.
That's awesome. And this is what I just love about you so much is you're so versatile as a musician, as a singer, and as an actor. So the play really dealing with ADHD. And what have you learned personally and professionally in dealing with kids that have ADHD?
Oh, by golly. Well, just let me tell you a little story about one of my star pupils that I had from pre-kindergarten all the way to her second round of grade 12. She graduated and moved away, and I miss her desperately, but her name is Elena, and her father called me and said, my daughter is a singer and she needs to take singing lessons. I said, bring her over. Well, this little doll just marched into my room and said, I'm a singer. And I said, oh, you are. And I didn't realize what a busy little girl she was. She has a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful soprano voice, so clear and pitch, and very, very musical little girl. Anyway, I soon discovered that something that her mother did not inform me when we started lessons was that the child has ADHD. And
Mm.
as a result, well, okay, so I'm the kind of person, I teach individuals, I teach people.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
teach music to individuals, let's just say that way. And
Mm-hmm.
not everybody learns things the same way. So I'm always on a road of discovery to find out how can I help this person unlock their musical gift and to craft it and hone it and make it better so that it benefits them in their life. And we had to come to terms sometimes, Elena and I,
Mm-hmm.
about what conduct
Mm-hmm.
was acceptable and what wasn't. But once we
Yeah.
got that established, uh, we were very able to work together very, very successfully. And like I said, she was my pupil from junior kindergarten all the way to the second round of grade 12. So that's a lot of years to be working with a
That
person.
is.
And we had many festival trips. Yeah, anyway. So learning how to teach Elena was very interesting. I've also had, now this is not the same, but I've also had some autistic children come to me for music lessons. And that is another challenge. Of course, then you meet the individual where they are and you help them grow in their gifts. And you have to
That's
tell them when
awesome.
things stink, right? Because,
Yep. Yep.
but you can tell them when they're doing things correctly as well, or, and when it
Yeah.
sounds beautiful. So that's been a great joy in my life.
That's wonderful. I had this wonderful piano teacher that just recently passed away, and she was 93, but she was a firm, English, Scottish lady, and just would tell me, she just said, Ian, you haven't practiced this week. I can't move forward with you. And, I think it better we wrap up now and you go home and practice. And she would just be that blunt with me to, I better be on the QT here with Mrs. Thomas when I would, because, and then she'd tell me also, she'd say, Ian, you're wasting your parents' money. And I was just like, wow, and I would be like 10.
Hmm. Well, you know what?
And you know what?
It worked, didn't it?
And that was it certainly worked.
I know
Yeah.
that I've had to tell some students, I really like you and I like having you be here, but if you're not going to be, in the moment,
Not
I
gonna
can't.
work.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not going to work. And
Yeah.
and one child recently, her dad came and said, "I told you she knew when you weren't practicing."
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so what have you learned as a parent, grandparent dealing with ADHD?
Well, as a parent, grandparent, I don't have anyone in my inner circle
Yeah.
of children with this particular condition. I did help raise a daughter with central auditory processing issues,
Mm.
and that
Mm-hmm.
was learning about that and how to help that girl, that daughter, to learn to do math and to read and write was very interesting. I had to do a lot of reading, and then we did
Wow.
a lot of
Mm-hmm.
experimenting. We ended up homeschooling, which was probably the best
Mm-hmm.
thing for her. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, it's
That's awesome. Wow. So in the play, there's aspects of bullying, shaming issues, and also, good family relations, bad family communications. So, how have you dealt with those kind of issues in your life?
well, I come from a dysfunctional family, doesn't everybody?
Yeah, exactly.
um, in terms of that, well, yeah, it's true. I mean, in my family, four out of five children are specially gifted intellectually, which is a challenge for parents, especially if you are on the poorer end of the scale. But
Mm-hmm.
my parents, for example, well, okay, so my musical gifts come back from great grandparents and through my grandmother on my father's side and through my father, and my mother is very musical as well. But they saw value our music, in our musical education, and they did whatever they could
Absolutely.
do to support that. And that was a valuable thing. I was talking to one of my ladies who does my nails, and she was saying that she was a dancer, and her parents scrimped and saved so that she could learn to dance. But it was the same idea. You need to practice. Every child needs to learn self-discipline, and these
Yeah,
things help us to do that. And they give us
absolutely.
rewards at the end too.
Mm-hmm. And it was really my grandmother that said to my parents, like once I was, sort of newly diagnosed with ADHD for what they knew in the 70s, she said to them, she said, Ian needs to have singing lessons to do something that he does well.
Mm-hmm.
And she was really very emphatic with that, and mom and dad picked up on that, and then look at where I am now. So,
Mm-hmm. Yes,
so
and
it's
I think
just
that's the same with some of my students. The grandparents also did encourage because a lot of them did the driving, right?
right,
Drive
exactly.
picked up those ends, and I think that a lot of us in the arts world can really
Hmm.
look back to our grandparents for the support and help.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Well,
one of the
I
things,
knew my grandparents loved me more than anybody else in the world.
yeah, and you know what? There were certain grandparents that I knew too that loved me on, on my mother's side of the family.
Well, I don't want to preempt the story, but it's
Yeah,
also
yeah.
true that people have cranky grandparents.
Oh, yeah,
So yeah, we won't
yeah,
talk about
yeah.
that.
No. So, we just sort of touch on a little bit in the play about music therapy, okay? And because I didn't know how far I could go and, how to explain it. But you're aware about my motto about music versus medicine,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that.
Okay.
Basically, that means, you know, for an issue with ADHD or mental health issues of being non-medicated and using music therapy as the, as the therapy. And I know how it's worked in my life. So, as a music teacher, you've had some experiences with that too, or encouraging, some of your students as well to
Well,
try.
listen. Don't we all
Yeah,
use our music teachers as our therapists too? Don't we? I mean, when
totally.
I was doing my
Yes.
ARTC with Elise
Mm-hmm.
Bedard in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
recent years, it was like music teachers hear everything, just like hairdressers.
They do. That's so
But it's a
true.
little bit more soulish with music teachers because you're touching on the emotional parts of a being, the soulish parts of people, the inside life for expression. And,
Absolutely.
I
Mm-hmm.
think maybe for you with ADHD, the same way as anyone else, to be able to unlock, to be able to express inner feelings. And music does that very thing. There are so many different pieces and kinds of music that express such an arrangement, such an array of human emotion in various ways from various styles,
Oh,
and
yeah.
yeah. So learning to express and to sometimes I don't know, maybe with you, but I know with me, and it's that sometimes you don't know how to say or what to feel, but music speaks the language for you.
Absolutely. And the other thing that, is really important and is kind of like a main character in itself, in the play, is having faith or having a
Mm.
relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
And and so as we've gone through some different rehearsals, and you've seen in the script where I've talked about some different issues about faith. So, what do you think about faith in a personal relationship with God, but how it applies to dealing with a disability?
Well, let's just say that you and I have something tremendous in common besides music and besides
Yeah.
our love of the arts, in that we
Yeah.
both had godly grandparents. We both had godly grandmothers in particular who cared for us, who nurtured us, who brought us to Sunday school, who led us to the Lord, who always brought their faith into real living and helped us negotiate that. I think that from an early age, both you and I had that blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
here's the thing that
absolutely.
I find that's so heartbreaking is that, with families that are so far apart, or so many people are working at jobs outside the home in such a way that they don't get to spend that much time with one another as families, let alone
That's right. Yeah.
grandchildren. These important things of faith and family do not get passed on. And so the new generation doesn't have the foundation. But you and I were given great foundations in that, you know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
all of the
I mean, I
elders in
like
our families.
and I got to spend at least, 4 or 5 times a month with my grandparents, right?
Mm,
And then as well as special holidays. So, and then the um the whole aspect of then passing on the art, because my grandma was so talented as pianist, organist, choir director.
okay, now stop
And
because I'm portraying her in your play and I'm just not adequate.
yes, you are. You carry her spirit so well.
Hmm.
So let's cut to the chase. Our event will be taking place July 20th to the 23rd at Dundas Baptist Church, 7:30 p.m. Tickets are available now, and you can go on Promotix. We'll put a link up after this, and we would love to see you there.
Indeed.
Um, Indeed. And just to give you a little bit, there's a cast of 6, so we all have an important part in this play, and we really want to encourage families that have ADHD or mental health issues to come out.
Hmm.
And maybe even for those family members who don't totally understand the disability, it would be really good to see them come out and be educated a little bit. So, Luann, thank you so much for your time today. And as always, I love spending time with you whenever we get to spend time together. So, again,
Ditto.
July 20th to the 23rd, Stirring My Soul to Sing the Play. Don't miss it. Thanks so much. Bye for now.
It was nice seeing you again. Bye.